another episode of Financial Freeway. My name is David J. Atwood. I'm the man rocking the Ray-Bans. And I want to talk a little bit more about what we talked about on the last episode of Financial Freeway. I know I went a little fast, but I want to break it down a little bit more with regards to what you need to be doing consistently with your saving and investing. I know this guy's going to want to get in the lane. Oh, rookies, I tell you. Yep. Oh, what happened here? Lane run out and you got, oh, my bad. He turned off the other way. Anyways, I slammed a lot of information at everyone yesterday on the last episode, but I wanted to kind of pump the brakes a little bit and talk a little bit more about breaking each part down. So I thought today we would start with just simply part one of the plan to get financial freedom. And part one, the part one plan is the first thing you need to do. First thing right now, if you're listening to me, hit pause, go to the App Store and download an investing app. I won't recommend one of them. I'm going to ask you guys to do your research. I don't want to recommend one over the other. I have my favorite. I have one I use, and it works out really well with me. But just Google investing app. Now, you can even do this through your bank if you want to. But I do know that banks sometimes charge more than some of these apps do for transactions and commissions and things like that. So investigate it. Take a look around, but I want you to download one of those investing apps right now. And I want you to consider as you're building your app or building your portfolio, the first thing you need to do, once you get the app downloaded, of course, is to think about what your desires are, what your wants, what your financial goals are. And for me, my financial goal is to simply retire as young and as healthy as possible, and be able to give something to my kids when it's all said and done. I want to give them a little bit more than I got when I was an adult. So I want to make sure they get as much as they can. So those are my two goals. So by doing that, I know that I have to amass a little bit of wealth, and I got to really put some work into it. Wow, there's a lot of people walking their dogs right now. So that being said, I have a certain risk tolerance that I'm going for. As well, I also have my portfolio set up in certain ways. Like I got in Canada, we've got a TSFA, a tax-free savings account. And you put your post-tax money into a TSFA. That's money you've already paid taxes on. There's also a limit to how much you can put in there every year. So be careful. The penalties for putting too much into a TSFA are pretty steep. So don't get carried away. Research what you have to do, what you're supposed to put in there, and don't over contribute to that. Then there's the RSP. That's for my retirement fund. A lot of people don't understand how RSPs work, and they feel like they're garbage. They're actually amazing little vehicle if you use them for what they're meant for. If you're using it as a savings account, you're going to be in a world of hurt. It's going to be a lot of trouble. It's going to be confusing, and your tax penalties are huge. But if you're using it for what it is, a long-term retirement savings plan where you're going to put money in there and forget about it, then it works really well. And there are tax advantages to it that you can take advantage of today and get that tax-free money working for you in your portfolio, so your portfolio can grow. And the more it grows, of course, the more money it can generate. Now, when you pull it out, when you start pulling your money out of your RSP to live off of, or whatever you have to do with it, because there are certain things you can do with a retirement savings plan. Things might have changed. Check, make sure you're on top of your tax laws. But you got to set that up, and you want to set it up right away. Now, and you want to start investing into one of those. Well, there's a few other types of investment portfolios. What are you doing, brother? It's a stop sign for him. What are you doing? Let's go. So what you want to do is you want to make sure your investments are done in the right in the right way. You want to make sure you're not investing into an RSP if you want to get if you want to start buying your first home. RSPs are for long-term investing. TSFA is another great venue, a great vehicle to use, because it has the when you pull it out, it's tax-free. You don't pay taxes on the money, and you don't pay taxes on the gains either, which is kind of crazy if you ask me. But again, be careful. Make sure you talk to a professional about your financial goals, what you need. But once you get that app and you can start investing, start playing a little bit with how you want those investments, what you want those investments to look like. So what you want to do is, thank you, buddy. Thank you. On one of the apps I use, I can have a tax-free savings account. I have an RSP. I can even invest in crypto, or I can just invest in the stock market, like just totally free and wild, like just crazy. But what you want to do is you want to just set up the account first. Number one, set up the account. Just set it up and set up how it's going to work. These are really easy to set up. It doesn't take much time, and there's so much benefit to it. So don't be afraid to do it. Do it now. Do it now. Don't spend any money on it right now. Just set up the account so you have it and you know how to do it, and you start educating yourself on how it works. And once you set up with yourself with like for my app, I use the Wealth Simple app. What I get from that is I also get a subscription to a magazine that helps me, what's it called, the TDL, I can't remember what it's called, but they give me all kinds of financial information and with what's going on with the market, the big news in the market. So it's really, really cool. I like that for that. Another app you might want to think about getting is now I never use this app myself, so I can't speak to its efficacy, but what I can do is I can definitely tell you that I wish I had this app when I started. And this one app, I won't give you the name of it. Again, Google it, do your research. But this one app is amazing because you can buy things with this app. And say it costs $1.50 for, you're buying a pop, right? Pop's $1.50. What it'll do is it'll charge your account $2 and take that 50 cents and invest it for you. That's how easy is that? You can set up your fund, whatever you want your fund to be. And whenever you want to buy something, it will round up. And oh, that guy is crazy. Kind of like his style. He just drove against traffic in the wrong lane. Crazy man. So what you want to do is you want to get set up with these apps so you get familiar with the concept of investing and you're not afraid to start attempting to invest. So really look into those things. It's a really great place to start. Get your bank account set up. And here's the thing. If you waited until you had $10,000 and then invested, then what's going to happen is you're going to lose a lot of gains. Yes, it's great to have a big chunk when you invest. And I even know that some portfolio managers will only take you if you have like 100 grand or 250 grand or whatever. But if you do it yourself, what I would suggest right away is start with as little as you possibly can, or sorry, not as little, as much as you can. But even if it's only $5 a week, start investing right away. And that little bit of investing, that it's called dollar cost averaging. When you buy a little bit every week on a repetitive basis, really changes the game. For instance, if you are, if you decide to take my advice, which you should have, you sold that expensive car, you got rid of the car payment, you now bought yourself a POS just to drive around with, something with a good stereo and a good radio, and you are saving yourselves that $500 a month. What are you doing, buddy? It's rush hour. What are you doing? And you're saving yourself that $500 a month car payment. Well, if you were to take that $500 a month, you'd make some money if you invested, but you would make more money if you took that $500 and divided it up and put in $75 a week. That would actually make you more money because you start making gains on that first $75 right away. And then it just adds up more and more. So by getting into the market as quick as you can, you're going to see more gains that way. So it's really, really considered. But again, as I said, talk to a professional. Now, the whole part of part one here is to kind of get the ball rolling. So you got your investment app, you've got your Roundup app, which I think is just, again, phenomenal idea for someone who wants to get started. And then what I want you to do is I want you to go through your house. And I'm a huge fan of Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, if you know him as that. Huge fan of him because he's so positive. I love his outlook on life, and I love how he just wants to help people get to a place where they're successful. He really, really does. I love that. So what is this guy doing? Oh, down the middle of the street on a scooter and not looking at all. Oh, he's in a wheelchair, so I guess I have to give him a bit of a wider berth. Okay, fair enough. I guess I will, because if I were to run over a guy in a wheelchair, I'd be the bad guy. I don't think there's an upside to that at all. So anyways, Gary V was talking about, he says you want to get started in life, you want to get a head start and start moving forward with your investment strategies or your plans to start a business or whatever. He said, go through your house and sell everything. I'm not saying sell everything, but I can guarantee you probably have about $2,000 or maybe $4,000 worth of stuff in your house. Probably even more if you think about some recreational vehicles you might have kicking around. You have all that stuff sitting in your house, and you can go sell it and offload it and take that money and throw it into your investment account. That's a big deal, and it's a little bit of work, but just go through your house and start just getting all the stuff that you haven't used in a year, or you didn't use at Christmas time last year, and it's still kicking around. It's in dust. It's in the crawl space. Whatever it is, pull it out, polish it up, throw it on eBay or Facebook Marketplace, and get rid of it. Take that cash and invest it. And I mean this from the heart. Start your nest egg as quick as possible by putting as much work as you can into what you're doing. So sell all the stuff you have. Anything that you're not using, get rid of it. Anything at all. And then of course, again, this is just about getting started on your goal. Then I want you to do another thing. Learn how to cook. You gotta learn how to cook. Cooking your own food is not only is it healthy, but you're gonna save a ton of money. And I was just doing some looking online about what the difference would be. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of $2,500 you can save by cooking your own food. That's mind-blowing. It's even more if you're a person who likes to eat lunch out every day. Start packing your lunch, brown bag it. It's so simple. And I know there's a lot of people say there's other ways to do it, and you don't have to sacrifice that macchiato on the way with the biscotti on the way to work. I say you do. I don't be stupid. Listen, you're in crisis. We're all in crisis. We got to make sure that we can take care of ourselves, number one. Next, we got to make sure we can take care of our family, number two. And then we got to make sure we can take care of our community. And we can't do that unless we're sacrificing today. Short-term pain, long-term gain. Got to get that right. So avoid that stuff. Start cooking for yourself. And another thing, use generic products. Use no-name stuff, because that stuff, like a lot like rice and flour, sugar, you don't need to have a name behind it. Go with the cheapest of that stuff. Yeah, there's some things that make a difference, right? Like if you're going for, special type of fruits or vegetables, or for me, it's olive oil. I like a certain type of olive oil. Some people, it's soy sauce. I watched this whole documentary on soy sauce not long ago. You might have something that you desperately need to have a quality thing in it, but there's a lot of things you definitely don't. No one tastes the difference between sugar or salt. Rice is pretty plain, pretty basic. Just stick with the staples. Save money as much as you can that way. I mean, if you just do these things, these little things here, you're going to be able to say, I can't remember the number, but I'm trying to get you guys to $10,000 as quick as possible. This will get you to 10 grand within a year. If you have a car payment, get rid of that car payment any way you can. If you're eating out, skip the dishes, grabbing that Starbucks on the way to work, except I don't mind you buying Starbucks because, again, I own stock in Starbucks. But if you do this stuff, you're going to be able to save so much money if you start cutting this out. Start thinking, seriously, start thinking like a grown-up when it comes to this stuff. Look, if you're buying stuff on credit, if you're using your debit card, you're going into your line of credit or your overdraft, you're setting yourself up for a long-term disaster. So I strongly recommend that what you do is you start acting like a grown-up, and if you can't afford it, don't buy it. And even if you can't afford to buy it, what I would say is really consider not buying it, because we got to save money. We got to get to the next level. So maybe 10,000 is a little bit much for a lot of people to digest. You know, maybe that is a little bit too much. But how about we just take it to $1,000? Get to that first $1,000 just to feel that sense of power and that sense of control over your life. Don't wait until you get like for 10,000, but get to that 1,000. Start that investment account. You can check out my kind of rough portfolio of what I put together, but I don't go with my portfolio on individual stocks. What I would strongly recommend is actually go to an ETF or an index fund. They're trading really good. Historically, over the last 90 years, they're doing about 12% a year. So, I mean, 12% over the long term, I should say, not a year. Sorry, don't quote me on that. But again, talk to a financial professional. But doing these little things, it's the little things, it really is. It's like, you know what? Selling your car and buying a POS to get around is a big deal. That's a big thing to do, and I get it. But cutting out Starbucks, cutting out skip the dishes, that's not a big deal to do, and it's going to have a tremendous amount of growth in your start fund before you go. That's part one of our plan. Okay, let's get in there. Let's sell our stuff. Let's get rid of that car payment any way we can. And listen, if you don't have the money to invest because you're too much in debt, then let me tell you something else. Pay off that debt. Pay off that credit card. Really, really attack the debt aggressively, because if you pay off your credit card, that's the best investment ever, because that's a 24% return if you pay that all off. Pay down your debt. Get rid of it as quickly and as harshly as possible. But let's get to that $1,000, folks. If you like what you're watching, hit the thumbs up. Check out financialfreeway23.ca, because that's where all the good stuff is. And as I always say, spread the word. Spread the good news about what we're talking about here, because we want everyone to understand that everybody has the inalienable right to live a life of success, happiness, and abundance. Wherever you are in this, well, getting on to Christmas. We're in December now. God bless.